The stories in this episode come from the Reddit community and are not my own. Links to their original source are in the description, as well as contact information should you wish to either submit your own story or request the removal of a story from an episode. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse, and today we're once again looking at the people who ask us to decide if their actions were justified over at Reddit/Am I the A-hole. Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments, as well as any suggestions you might have that we may just use in a future installment. Prepare yourself to reach an unbiased verdict, cause we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to take off my heels around my short male cousin? Hey Reddit, I, then 15 female, went to a family celebration last Christmas. It got brought up today on a family Zoom call because we are meeting said cousin and aunt on holiday next month, and my aunt seriously told me to forget my heels. So last Christmas, we stayed in a hotel and had a meal where we got dressed up. I wore a black dress with black high heels. I picked the shoes because I like them, and they look cool with my outfit. I am 5'4", by the way, and my cousin, James, then 23, is 5'5" to 5'6". With the heels, I was a bit taller than him. When I came downstairs for food and he saw me in the heels, he was immediately sulky, especially when we took a family photo. In my family, they put the cousins in age order, and he had to stand next to me as I'm the next youngest. One of my female cousins said my heels looked nice and commented on how tall I looked, and I replied, "Thanks, I really like these shoes. The few extra inches really makes a difference." James then told his mother, my aunt, that I was making fun of his height. My aunt then told my dad to tell me to take the heels off, and my dad took me aside and asked me to take off the shoes so I didn't rock the boat. I refused, saying, "I'm sorry my shoes are insulting his masculinity. Also, 24 is a bit old to go crying to mummy." My dad laughed, but told me to change to my Doc Martens. I refused. Cut to my aunt telling me off and pleading with me to change because James is insecure that he's 8 years older than you, and you're nearly his height, and taller in heels. It's enough that his sister is 5'8". I sarcastically apologized for my jeans, which she didn't appreciate, and told her that he's a bit old for his mum to do his dirty work. She also told me to respect my elders, meaning her and my cousin, and I got told off by my grandma for rocking the boat. I mean, I get respect your elders, and that sarcasm isn't always the right answer, but seriously, how can you be offended by a shoe? Not to mention that it really irked me that he's 24 and can't even complain to my face and has to get his mother, who knows he dislikes me for some reason, to tell me off. Am I the a-hole? You are not the a-hole for refusing to change your shoes just because your cousin is insecure with himself. While I can certainly empathize with people who are sensitive about their appearance, no woman should have to dress down and lower themselves just to appease someone's selfish demands, especially a grown man who's gone crying to his mommy. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Moving on, our next story is called, Am I the a-hole for deciding to move to my dad because my mom let her boyfriend and his kids live with us? My mom and dad divorced about 10 years ago when I was 6. I am 16 female now, and my mom remarried and divorced once before, and my dad has had several long-time girlfriends. I have been close with both of them, but ever since my mom moved to another town, I have been primarily living with her and spent long weekends and vacations with and at my dad's. Now, my mom met a new guy about a year ago, and ever since, he has been over to our house a lot, which is fine, but I do not like him much. He is very bossy, and often takes his kids with him, who I am expected to entertain while they do whatever. That is my main issue. I despise his kids. They are 15 male, 13 male, and 10 male. The 15-year-old takes after his dad and tries to order me around. The 13-year-old behaves like an 8-year-old and has frequent temper tantrums, and the 10-year-old has a weird crush on me, and I have caught him trying to peek into the bathroom and sneak into my room when I am there 3 times. I told my mom all of this, and she told her boyfriend, and he claims to have talked to them, but nothing has changed. Now, last week, my mom said they were moving in with us. I told her I was not comfortable with that, and she got mad and said I am too old to act like a jealous kid. I told her I am not jealous, I just dislike her boyfriend and really dislike his kids who live with him 5 days a week. She essentially told me to stop complaining, and they moved in the next day. Well, I called my dad the day they moved in, and he came to pick me up the day after. I only informed my mom after I had left, as she was at work, and I have been living with him and his girlfriend ever since. Meanwhile, my mom has been beside herself. She has begged me to come back, apologized profusely, called me 10 times a day, offered to kick her boyfriend out, and has even tried to threaten my dad to take me back. I gotta be honest, I feel really bad. Ever since like 4 years ago, it's been me and her all the time, and she probably feels horrible. However, my dad has been great. His girlfriend is really nice, and I just feel really at home, which I haven't felt ever since my mom's boyfriend came in the picture. In my opinion, you are not the a-hole for being upset that your mother hasn't taken your feelings into consideration, despite how uncomfortable her new boyfriend and his kids are making you. In any scenario of families merging together, there's bound to be an awkward adjustment period. But you certainly don't deserve to be spied on or controlled, and you're old enough to decide on where you'd like to live. You're trying to distance yourself from something that makes you uncomfortable, and I think it's great that you're spending more time with your father. At any rate, I hope everything works out. Our next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not comforting my child during an emotional breakdown? My wife recently passed away about a month ago. We have 2 kids, Jacob, male 20, and Felicia, female 18. My daughter is very introverted, whilst my son is more extroverted, like myself and my wife. I didn't have a close bond with my daughter and was a lot closer to my son, whilst my wife was closer to my daughter. My daughter was more academically driven and spent her time staying at home and studying most nights. She's also very independent and deals with things on her own. So when her mom passed away, I wasn't sure how to handle her, and I didn't know if she wanted comfort or if she was okay on her own. When her mother passed away, she didn't show anything openly. She became more reserved and didn't speak much. My parents came down to offer their condolences, and my daughter, who doesn't like them very much, had to be forced to sit at the dinner table. My mother and father were telling me about some females they think that I should consider dating. My daughter said that my wife just died not long ago, and they were already thinking of making me date. My dad told her that she wouldn't understand and that she should not butt into a conversation that wasn't about her. She said that it was rude and inconsiderate, considering that all of us were still grieving over the loss of someone significant to all of us. My mother then made a comment saying that she didn't cry at the funeral, and therefore she wasn't significant enough to her. Long story short, my daughter screamed at her, saying that just because she didn't cry, it didn't mean she didn't feel any pain, that she cried herself to sleep every night and would wait near the front door, just waiting for her mom to come back home, and realized she wouldn't. She looked at me and said that she knows how I see her as some emotionless robot and had only shown Jacob comfort. She was a sobbing mess, and I honestly didn't know how to react. She hadn't shown that much emotion in front of people before. My son decided to take her out and away from the situation, and he had texted me saying that I should have intervened and shown her some comfort, as that's what she needed. I told him that she was very independent and dealt with things by herself, and he argued that she was still a teenager and that she had emotions too. So am I the a-hole? I honestly don't know how to handle this. The people of Reddit and myself agree that you are in fact the a-hole. It doesn't matter what child you're closer to, your daughter needed you, and she wanted everyone to respect her mother's passing, instead of moving on so quickly and then telling her to butt out just because she's vocalizing her feelings. Your mother didn't help the situation either by saying that she didn't even feel sad about her passing. This whole experience could have been the perfect opportunity to bring you two closer together, but instead only pushed you further apart. I certainly hope by some miracle you and your daughter are still able to work things out. But do you guys feel the same way that I do, or do you perhaps feel differently about any of today's stories? I always value your thoughts in the comments and welcome you to share your own judgments below. Anyways, that's about all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for tuning in with me, Jesse. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. Have a beautiful day, and don't be an a-hole. I'll catch you in the next one.